All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Who's Right podcast. And first of all, before we get started, I want to wish everybody. I hope they had a great Thanksgiving. Obviously, we took a break on Thursday. For a day of rest. We figured that everybody would not be doing deals, especially since Yamamoto said he's not doing anything till the winter meetings. But before we get started, Victor, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Got my turkey in me, got some good mac and cheese, potato salad. Good, ready, rested, ready to go.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So yeah, today we're just gonna go through since we didn't do something on Thursday, we're gonna go through the coaching staff and we're gonna talk a little bit about Yamamoto, and then lastly we're gonna talk about different things that we want to see the Mets do in the next month or so. Okay, so before we get started, what are your thoughts on the coaching staff?
Yeah, I think we got some good guys. I mean, a former manager and our bench coach. Um, John Gibbons is a seasoned vet. He started off his career with the Mets. He was drafted by them in the same year as Darryl Strawberry, so he has a little history there. I think that's as far as it goes. He might have played like 4 games or something like that,
Yeah.
but what he did in Toronto was amazing. He led them to a CS, two back-to-back CSs, and it's good to have a coach as a vet that's there um, behind Mendoza that knows what he's doing, but is not going to push him too hard and not trying to, he'll give him his space, and that's what we needed in a bench coach. So I like the hire. The first and third base coaches were good hires as well. Guys that have been there before have done it. Um, and we got Hef back, and that was my biggest um target as far as the coaching staff. I know he wasn't he wasn't going anywhere, but the fact that we re-signed or we announced that he's staying in our organization was big for me, and I'm glad that he's staying.
Yeah, Hef was a big part of, everybody hates on Hef because of the season that we had, but I think he's doing a lot of things, not only with the big club, but with the new pitching lab and how he took care of Senga this year. I think that's a big deal, especially since we're going after another Japanese pitcher for them to show that we took care of them as they came over. And yeah, John Gibbons, perfect hire for the Mets. I think that old school guy with them on the bench, not like you said, not pushing back, but pushing back or getting that advice to Mendoza when Mendoza needs it is vital. And yeah, we hired the third base coach for Lindor. I think you know. Don't get me wrong. Any guy that's under Tito's coaching staff is probably really good. So the fact that Lindor was really close with Buck, kind of I feel good about this that we gave Lindor something to kind of keep him happy. Not that we hire because of that, because of players, but it's always good to have some, Lindor um, feeling good because I think when he feels good, he plays well. And and we saw it the first season when he's not feeling good, he doesn't play well. So we needed somebody in there to make sure Lindor stays hot. He can't just coming off his best season as a pro, and I think if he doesn't, I don't. He doesn't need to surpass it, but if he comes close to duplicating what he did last year, I think we'll be good. We'll be good.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and I think too the biggest thing is all these guys are were a part of winning organizations. You know, you have Mike Sarwell coming from Cleveland, and they won a world or they went to a World Series with Lindor. Um, you got Antoine Richardson, our first base coach, who won a couple of championships over in San Fran while he was over at their organization, and John Gibbons leading their team through the playoffs year after year. I think that'll create a good culture for us here in Queens that will say that we know what it takes to win. We know we're gonna need to get there, and we're gonna do everything that we can on all cylinders. You know, we're covering all of our bases here, and I like what we're doing here. I like what Mendoza's bringing to the table. I like what the coaching staff is coming that the coaching staff is to get coming together. But I also like the internal hires that we're doing. Hiring some more guys as um I can't remember the cat's name from Houston, but coming over as the VP
Hmm.
baseball development, or you're gonna have to remind me of the name. I can't remember what he was hired as, but I know that he's big time and that he's going to be scouting. When you look at Houston's organization, they have they've had one of the best farm systems in the country, and if he can bring something like that over to New York, then um, you know, I'll be happy. So I like all the hires that we're doing internally, on the field and off, and I think it's creating a good taste in Mets fans' mouths.
Yeah, yeah, and the fact that we kept Chavez, we haven't mentioned Chavez yet, and kept him as a hitting coach, I think is huge. You know, because the fact that he wanted to stay here speaks volumes on what he thinks that we're building here, and I think that you know, our best year out of the 2 years that were under Buck was the first year when he was the hitting coach, and having him again strictly as the hitting coach um, is a big deal, I think, and I'm pretty excited about that. And
Yeah, it's like he's taking a back seat or to what's going on. He knows what he's good at, and he's taking that role. And yeah, no, that's a good comment there about Chavez, because yeah, he'll be a good kind of like under the radar guy that no one's going to talk about anymore, but he's going to have his hand in all of it.
Absolutely, and we can't forget also about Glenn Sherlock. You know, he developed Alvarez. You know, his catching defense was good last year, better than any report that was out there. Everybody said that he wasn't going to be a good defensive catcher, and he did well. And the fact that we keep that continuity with Sherlock is a big deal, and I'm pretty excited about that. So I think we kept the pieces that we needed to keep, and then upgrade it in the other parts. So hopefully that's going to come to fruition, that we upgrade it, and that the coaching staff gels well now that it's all set, and now they get to start meeting and strategizing to get ready for next year. Uh, but uh, but I know you're tired of hearing about this, but let's talk Yamamoto. And I'm gonna let you start because I know you want to talk about it.
Well, listen, you said it yourself. He said that he's not going to make a decision until winter meetings, and everyone and their mothers was talking about Yamamoto. I saw the reports on how many teams are after this guy. Everyone and their is after this guy. You have yeah, I'll read off a list of some of the top targets that SNY has reported as top targets for um Yamamoto this year. You got the Mets, the Yankees, the Reds, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, the Cubs, the Phillies, the Mariners, the Giants, the Rangers, the Cardinals, the Diamondbacks, and the Tigers as the top targets that are going after Yamamoto. And that's just people that have been reported. Everyone's going after this guy this year. And it's not that I am tired of talking about it because I I don't think we're gonna get him because I do think we're gonna get him. I think it's between us and the Yankees, but um, it's really out of our control. All we can do is talk about it, and we know how good the guy is. We know what it's gonna take to get him. It'll probably take 8 to 10 years, which when we're talking money, we know that Steve Cohen will cash that cow out as much as he wants. When he wants a guy, he's gonna go after him. So it's really nothing. There's nothing that the Mets can do at this point except talk with him and see what he wants to do. And it's going to be even harder to do that when he's not going to meet anyone anywhere in America. He's doing all of his meetings on Zoom and over the phone, and it's you're not really getting a good experience that way. Um, Especially when I feel like when you go to New York and you feel that atmosphere, you see the club, you see everything that they built, it just pulls you in a little different. And I get it. He's building a even playing field for everyone. But I don't know. I feel like he could come over to the Mets organization or to New York, just New York, because we know it's between the Yankees and the Mets. He just has to visit those two teams and then make his decision because there's really nothing else for him to do. But um, what I don't know is how much it's going to take to get him. Since all these teams are after him, we know it's going to be over 200 million. But how much more than over 200 million will it be? Like I said, it doesn't matter for Steve Cohen, but um, I think the years is what's going to really bring him in.
Yeah, and you know what? I said it in a previous video. Yamamoto is the only free agent I really, really want this year. And because I'm with the rest of the league. Everybody wants this guy. And it's not because what we had with Senga. It's the reason I want this guy is because he's 25. He's your age.
Yeah,
He's 25. And that's why I want this guy because obviously we're not going to compete next year, or at least we're not going to compete for a World Series next year, unless we move up the timeline. But I'm not expecting that, so I'm not going to put up my hopes on a championship next year. And so the fact that he's 25 means that we have him for years after that, right? Last few years we signed old guys that we were expecting to be here 1, 2 years tops, right? 3 years tops with max, right? And I don't want that. I don't want the temporary guys, hired guns. I want somebody that's going to be here for a while. And that's what Yamamoto represents. Somebody that's going to be here for a while and potentially better than Senga. And Senga almost won the Cy Young and Rookie of the Year the same year. So, you know what I mean? If he could potentially be equal or better than Senga, I'm a happy camper.
yeah. But
Um,
here's the thing, uh, with 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 Yamamoto, he's so young that you sign him to a long-term deal. He gets hurt next year. He's out for one of those years. He's I'm not trying to jinx it, but he can go under the knife, come back, not be the same pitcher again. And you look at a guy like Luis Severino that the Mets are thinking about getting, don't know why, but it's one of those guys that had a great start to his season or his career, um, pitched phenomenally when at the age of 23, put a couple of years on that, and now no one wants him. The Yankees don't even want him. They don't know what to do with him.
Yeah, but that's a risk I'm willing to take because at the end of the day, you're taking a risk on any of these pitchers, right? Because all these pitchers at any moment can be out, right? That's the risk of being a pitcher. Um, you know, but that's why you pay the big bucks for the guys that have the potential to go farther, right? because we don't pay for their past, right? We pay for their future, right? And that's what we're paying for. So I'm super excited. But before we keep it going, that's enough with Yamamoto. I think I want him. I'm desperate, just like everybody else in the league for him. You're you want him, but it's okay. You know,
Go
but
get me Eduardo Rodriguez, and I'll be happy.
let's talk about future other potential players, and I'll let you get started. I'll let you get on the Rodriguez train.
Well, like I said before, we don't need any more bats. We need pitching, 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 pitching this year. We need bullpen help, and we need starting pitching. We probably need two starting pitchers, or two, maybe three or four, maybe, because we're not gonna be with David Peterson for the first half of the year. We never know how Tyler McGill is going to pitch. You got the young guys that aren't ready yet, so you probably need three guys: Eduardo Rodriguez, Jordan Montgomery, and Yamamoto. Get me those guys, and I'm a happy camper. You got your one in Yamamoto, your two in Senga, three in Jordan Montgomery, four Eduardo Rodriguez, and five in Quintana. And that's a great rotation for me. If you don't get one of those guys, Shota Imanaga's out there too. He's one of those Japanese players going under the radar again this year. He didn't have a great year. I think he pitched to a 2.8 ERA with 174 strikeouts over 148 innings, but that's still a middle of the pack type of starter. So I'd love to see us get some of those starters that are out there on the market. I saw a report from MLB the other day, and I think there were like 20 starting pitchers on the open market that no one's talking about. It's just Yamamoto, and that's why I get frustrated sometimes because I'm like, guys, there's other starting pitchers out there that are great. I know Yamamoto is a generational talent, but you got guys that have won World Series that no one's talking about, yeah, those are the starting pitchers that I want. Other than that, like I said, bullpen help would be great. Bring back David Peterson. I mean, sorry, David Robertson. Um, I saw SNY again put out a report of Matt Moore. He's one of those relievers that has kind of like he'll be like a seventh inning reliever. He used to close for the Orioles, but he didn't have a great season last year. I think he had over a 6 ERA with the Diamondbacks, but he's got like a 2.8 in his career. So I think that just get me some relievers, some other guys that I've heard out there, Jordan Hicks. Um, he's like I said, I need pitching. So
Yeah, and I'm with you. And I think the biggest thing, I think the reason why everybody's on the Yamamoto train is because of his age and his potential. Other than that, because everybody else is older, you know, everybody else is older that's coming out, and Yamamoto represents a long, lasting on your rotation, right? Because if he does sign a 10-year contract takes you until he's 35. But I wouldn't mind Rodriguez. That's fine with me. I don't think we're getting Montgomery. I think he's probably going back to Texas, to be honest with you, or some other team. But I don't think he's coming back to New York. I saw a report that the Yankees are trying to get him back. I was confused when they traded him away to St. Louis. So I don't get that part. And obviously money talks, but we'll see if he goes back to the Yankees. But um, to be honest with you, they could fill out the rotation with a couple arms like that. Maeda just signed today with the Tigers, 2-year deals with the Tigers, and so he's off the board. And obviously, there's a bunch of pitchers that have already come off the board. Nobody's talking about them, but the teams are signing them. So 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 that
Yeah,
even though nobody's talking about them, the teams internally are talking about them, and the market's moving slowly but surely with those pitchers. I just want to hear at least this week before the meetings start a couple of those back end of middle to back end of the rotation pieces signed by the Mets to and obviously the bullpen. With relievers, you never know. From year to year, the consistency is not there usually with relievers, and that's why the consistent relievers are their closers, right? Those are the guys that are consistent every single year, and that's why they're the closers, right? That's why they're the end of the game guys. Um, if we can fill out a roster with some of those guys, that'd be great because the bullpen has been an issue for a while now, for the last few years, and we need to fill that bullpen up and make sure because no pitcher lasts 9 innings, right? We're in the modern age. There's no pitcher last 9 innings, so we need a bullpen to keep us in the game. And
yeah,
so,
and that's why I was so confused that we gave up Sam Coonrod and Jeff Brigham. I know um, Jeff Brigham didn't have a great, second half of the year, but he had a great first half of the year. Sam Coonrod's got some nasty stuff. So
well, and those guys can be signed again, right? I didn't see them get picked up by anybody, so they can always come back. But if we can upgrade from that, I'd rather upgrade, right? So I would rather do that because the bullpen needs help, and those guys were in the bullpen last year. So
yeah, yeah, I don't
and
know the reliever market really well, but um, that's one of those positions that you just sign a random guy and hope that they're good. It's like you said, they're never consistent.
yeah, they're not consistent. I mean, I heard the same things about Jordan Hicks, and Jordan Hicks has all the tools. He can be an awesome reliever, even a closer, even, but he's not consistent, right? So, and that's the thing with relievers. When you do have a consistent bullpen, you see it. The Yankees had that consistent bullpen. The Braves built a consistent bullpen for a little bit, and they're just bolstering up with the trade that they just did. And so it's one of those things that once you find those guys, you keep those guys, right?
Yeah,
And that's what the Yankees have done, and Houston's even developed some guys um, that weren't doing well in other teams, and now they're doing well with Houston. So it's one of those things where that once you find those guys and get them pitching well, you keep those guys. And I hope they build that.
yeah, and I think the biggest thing is going to be the development, because you can see a lot of those pitchers, those relievers, go to clubs that were pitching phenomenally, closing for clubs, and then um, end up not doing so hot at their next club. And so I'm excited to see that pitching lab develop, and I think that'll be a big part of building up our bullpen because we have guys in the minor leagues that are ready to go to pitch in the majors. But it's just a matter of getting them big league ready, and I think that pitching lab is going to be a big key factor to that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so let's talk about a couple hitters, right? We got a couple hitters that well, for me personally, I if we get them or not, I really again, like you said, it's all about pitching this year for the most part because um, I would like to see the new guys, the young guys, kind of see where they're at and kind of fill in some roles. But if we do want to fill in some things, um, one guy that I really wouldn't mind seeing in the Met uniform is Soler.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah. Soler it's a guy that I think can really help out a ball club. You put him behind Pete, and automatically Pete's protected. You don't have to worry about teams pitching around Pete. And so I would love that if that. Well, let me rephrase that. Love is a strong word. I wouldn't mind that. The one thing that might be possible, and I don't know if it's possible or not, but this would be a trade, and I wouldn't mind this trade.
Don't say it.
I'm gonna say it, Robert. If Robert's available, he's young, he's uber talented, he steals bases, top of the a lineup kind of guy, center fielder. We move Nimmo to left. We got our outfielder, right? Where we need an outfielder, or we need to sign an outfielder regardless. If if Robert's available, that's the guy I want because he's young and he could. I mean, he plays center field. He steals bases. He in this new day and age of stealing bases, that's the kind of guy you want at the top of the lineup. I love Nimmo, and Nimmo was a good leadoff guy for what the old baseball was. But now in this age of stealing bases, we need somebody that steals bases. And so Robert is the guy, and I'm gonna let you take it from here.
Yeah, no, I like that. I honestly thought you were gonna go with Juan Soto,
No, 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 no.
thinking that I kind of see that guy in a Yankees uniform, and I kind of want to see him in a Yankees uniform. There's something about him; he just looks right in a Yankees uniform.
No, no,
But
no, 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 no. I'm not going to go that far, but
no,
but
but Robert's good. Um,
Soto. The reason I wouldn't say Soto is because I don't want to give up anything for Soto. He's a free agent, and he's going to go for free agency.
well,
He's
they say if you can sign him this year, I mean, get him this year, you can convince him internally that you can re-sign him for the next, 3 years.
not Soto.
Come off the
Soto
open
wants to
market.
go to free agency.
So then he's not going anywhere this year.
Well, that's why it's going to be a hard trade because Soto wants to go to free agency. Unless you blow him out of the water with a contract, because I know Washington offered him some big contracts. They weren't that big compared to what he's going to get now, but they were pretty big at the time, and he declined those offers. And so I think Soto's going to free agency regardless. So that's why I don't want to give up anything for Soto. But Robert,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I think you hit right on the money there. If we were to sign anybody this year, it has to be a backup center fielder, um, or somebody that can play center field, because we have guys that can play the left and the right. We just signed DJ Stewart again to a 1 year deal. We'll see if he sticks, but he can play right field. You got Marte is coming back. You got guys that can play those corner positions, but we don't have anybody that can play that center field. And he steals bags. So if we were to go out there and trade for Robert, I wouldn't be mad about that because that's something that we need. And I think that's the only uh, reason that I would sign a hitter this year. Because you talk about a guy that can back up Pete. I think we already have that in Francisco Alvarez, or somebody that can steal bases in Ronnie Mauricio. We know he's going to get the playing time this year. He's Ellie De La Cruz 2.0. He's going to come up and steal the show. And so when we're talking about free agent acquisitions, I want somebody that can hit, but someone that can play center field. And so yeah, that's if there's anyone else out there that's not on my radar, comment on the comments below, because I don't know any other center fielders out there that can do everything that Robert can.
oh,
So
there's not. Robert's the guy. Robert is the only guy. He's the top guy out there if available, because we don't even know if he's available. If available, he's the top guy. There's nobody better. There's a bunch of center fielders out there, but there's nobody better than Robert. Robert's a talent, and I'll give up players for Robert. Luis Acuna, Luis Angel Acuna. I'll give up players like that for Robert. Not too many of them, You know, at the end of the day, not too many of them, but you put a couple of those guys in there. Kevin Parada can go with him. You know, Luis Angel Acuna, Parada, and then some other pieces, um, Vientos even. Put those three guys in that package. Send them to the White Sox. Bring Robert over, and let's do it because that's the guy. That's the guy.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm with you, man. We'll see. I know that the White Sox are one of those organizations that's kind of breaking down right now. So yeah, they're kind of a mess. To think that they had like a great rotation on Luis Robert there, um,
And
and didn't do anything.
another guy that
Tim Anderson.
that if you well, I don't know what happened to Tim Anderson, but and he's a free agent now, so he can sign with anybody. But another guy that if we include in that Robert trade and you know because he's coming off a off year, Dylan Cease wouldn't mind throwing him in there and seeing what kind of package he's kind of look they're looking for you know because if they are breaking it down, let's see what we can get. You know, as long as it's not too crazy, because at the end of the day, Dylan Cease coming off of a bad year, and he's about to be a free agent in a couple years. So it's not like you know he's this top guy right now just because of the bad year he had. So if we could find a trade package that can include Cease and Robert, bring him over.
And not
And
a
then
horrible year because he had a good start to the season. He just fell off somewhere and he couldn't get his stuff back. And so he's one of those guys that might need a change of scenery. So yeah, we can get those two guys over. You send over Mark Vientos, Brett Beatty, some of those prospects playing in the double A, like you said. I think that'll be a good uh, trade that can put us into a win now position. And I mean, depending on who we pick up, and the rest of our bullpen, starting rotation market, but we'll see as things play out next week during the winter meetings.
yeah, and two, not this week, but next week. Yeah,
Next week, yeah,
yeah, yeah. We got a week in between before we get to the winter meetings and
December
next
4th. No,
yes, that
that's
starts
next
next.
week.
Yeah, yeah, the week after this. Yeah, absolutely. And so that's going to be big. So you know that we'll bring Brandon back on and have a show that Sunday before the winter meetings and get the Atlanta point of view.
Yeah, no, that'll be
But
fun.
any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, yeah, go get me pitching. I know that's going to be hard with everybody chasing pitching out there, but that's what I want to see. Other than that, let's go Mets. I'm always a diehard until you know, until you make me. Well, I'm gonna. There's nothing that the Mets can do to not make me a fan. So just go get me pitching. Don't make me suffer any longer. Uh, let's go Mets.
Yeah. Well, sorry to tell you, suffering is part of being a Mets fan.
Well,
But
that's why I say
hopefully,
any longer
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
I'm tired of it, man.
Hopefully Cohen is changing it around and bringing in Stearns changes that around, and you know we no longer have to be in that suffering stage. But yeah, again, Yamamoto's the key to the offseason. Everybody else, give or take, I don't care. Yamamoto's the key for me. But your comments are needed. Let me hear what you think. Do you agree Yamamoto's the guy? Do you agree that you know, some other guys? Do you agree with Victor? Who's right? This is the Who's Right podcast. Let us know how you feel, and let's talk about it. So comment, subscribe, like the video, and yeah, let's go Mets. Talk to you soon. All right, see ya.
All right,
Bye.
peace out, guys.